Welcome to Gemcraft Studio here at Shop LC, where all of your favorite jewelry projects begin. I'm Sara Lovecraft, and today we are creating a really fun bracelet using some beautiful beads that has double strand elements in a single strand design. All right, this is the magnesite and mahogany obsidian bracelet. And for this project, you're gonna need a couple of tools. You're gonna need your chain nose pliers and your bent chain nose pliers for opening and closing your jump rings. You're gonna need your crimper tool for closing your crimps and closing your crimp covers. You're also gonna need your cutter tool for cutting your beading wire. For our materials, we're using our bead stringing wire. We're using some size 11 bronze colored seed beads, wire guardians, silver metal beads, crimp tubes, jump rings, the clasp, crimp covers, and our beautiful beads. We have magnesite and mahogany obsidian. To get started with today's project, we are going to thread on our wire guardian first. Instead of threading our crimp on, the wire guardian is going to go on first, and we're actually going to take this to the middle of our piece of beading wire. So go up through your wire guardian and down through your wire guardian, and then pull your bead stringing wire ends until you have reached the middle of the beading wire. All right, now that you have pulled your wire guardian to the middle, you're going to thread a crimp tube onto both strands of your beading wire. Bring that down next to your wire guardian. And just like with any crimping project, make sure that your wires are not crisscrossing inside the crimp tube or the crimp bead, and place that into the back notch of your crimper tool. Give that a squeeze. Turn it sideways, place it into the front notch of the crimper tool, and give that a squeeze. Now for the first part of the bracelet, we're actually going to be using both strands of bead stringing wire, but then we will separate these out to create some elements that resemble a double strand design. To get started, we are going to thread on our crimp cover to cover up our crimp tube. Place that crimp cover directly over the crimp. Place the crimp tube inside the crimp cover, and then use the rounded front notch of your crimper tool to help close that crimp cover over the crimp. You want this crimp cover to resemble a silver metal bead. Once you have closed your crimp cover, it does very much resemble a bead. So now we're going to thread a second bead next to it to just help to camouflage. Now the metal bead is going to go onto both strands of the beading wire. And you're going to drop that down right next to the crimp cover, and it looks like two little metal beads. All right, now we are going to start threading on some of our mahogany obsidian. We are going to thread on several of these beads, putting some of the 11O seed beads in between them. So we're going to thread on a bead and then a seed bead. Thread your mahogany bead onto both strands of your beading wire, and then thread on your seed bead onto both strands as well, and drop that down. You're going to thread on a total of 9 of the mahogany obsidian beads with the seed beads in between. Once you've thread on 9 of your mahogany obsidian beads, you are now ready to separate your strands and use them individually. So we're going to separate each strand out, and we are going to thread onto each strand 3 seed beads. Drop those down. Make sure you thread 3 on the other side. Then we're going to thread 3 of our beautiful magnesite beads onto each strand as well. Now onto each strand, thread 2 seed beads. Bring your 2 strands back together and thread a single mahogany obsidian bead onto both strands. Now we're going to repeat this process by separating our strands out and threading 2 seed beads onto each strand. Again, thread 3 of the magnesite onto each strand and an additional 2 seed beads. Again, bring both strands together and thread on a single mahogany obsidian. Repeat this process one more time, separating out your strands and adding your seed beads and your magnesite. One more time, bring your beading wire together, thread on your mahogany obsidian bead. Bring that down and then pull on your beading wire to make sure that you have pulled out all of the excess length and that everything is reasonably even. It should look something like this. Bring your 2 ends of beading wire together and thread on your crimp tube. Bring that down next to your last bead. And just like with any crimping, make sure that the wires are not crisscrossing inside the crimp tube. Place the crimp tube into the back notch of the crimper tool and give that a squeeze. Turn it sideways, place it into the front notch of the crimper tool and give that a squeeze as well. Now with your cutter tool, trim off one of the ends of your beading wire. Place the crimp cover over the crimp tube and use the front notch of your crimper tool to help close that crimp cover over the crimp. Once you have the crimp cover over your crimp, you're going to thread on another crimp and your wire guardian. Go up through the wire guardian, down through the wire guardian, and back down through your crimp tube. Pull that crimp down next to the previous crimp cover, making sure that the wires are not crisscrossing inside. Place that into the back notch of the crimper tool and give that a squeeze. Turn it sideways, place that into the front notch of the crimper tool and give that a squeeze. Come in with your cutter, trim off the excess, and then we're going to cover that crimp with one more crimp cover. Place the crimp cover over the crimp and use your crimper tool to close the crimp cover. Once you've closed the crimp cover over your crimp, now you're ready to add your hardware to the end of your bracelet. You're going to use your chain nose pliers with your bent chain nose pliers to hold your jump ring in place. Twist to open, thread your jump ring onto the wire guardian and go ahead and attach your clasp. Then use your pliers to hold the jump ring still, twist to close. And repeat this on the opposite side with another jump ring between 2 pairs of pliers, twist to open, thread that onto the wire guardian on the other end of your bracelet, close the jump ring. And there you have it, your bracelet is complete. Thanks for watching. I hope you have enjoyed today's project. Again, I'm Sara Lovecraft here at Gemcraft Studio with Shop LC. Be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss a single one of our upcoming projects. And let me know in the comments section, how do you feel about this double strand, single strand bracelet that we have? Let me know if there are any other fun projects like this that you would like to see.